For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and it's Quest time. Now, before we get started, I'm going to ask if everybody can remain off this raised up platform here. This way nobody blocks the display. This includes the top of the speakers, the top of the display itself, because that can be distracting. But you know what? A lot of people like to hang out with, pose with, take selfies with Shrub over here. Shrub's my faithful assistant. Going to hold on to my tools. You're welcome to try to take them if you like, but he's never let go because he is faithful. He is diligent. He's just, really, he's on the path to being Altspace famous. Yeah, surround him. He loves that. He loves the attention. Okay, but if that's your thing, feel free. It's not gonna be disturbing at all. All right, if I can direct your attention to the menu wheel on your lower left, that collection of circles on the very bottom on the left-hand side. At the very top of that, you're going to notice a microphone icon. When that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear everything happening in your environment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that to red, since it's already been done. Thank you. But that basically means that you're muted, so we're not going to be able to hear you. So if somebody comes into your space and says, "Hey, are you still on the thing?" Feel free to answer them because we're not going to hear it. Or if you maybe have like a barking dog, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that started barking during its quest time. But just because you're muted does not mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice also that you have a pink cheeked smiley face in your menu wheel. And when you press on that, your emoji panel is going to open up for you in the air right in front of you. And, and if I say something really moving up here, right, you can just, it starts building up. You can just let it out, right? And it starts climbing up. Maybe it breaks the glass above me, and maybe glass starts raining down behind me, and it's all sparkly and it's very impressive. And you want to show how impressed you are. You can throw up the applause that I lived for, and I can take a moment to drink that in. If I ask you a yes or no question, you can, smile to say yes. You can frown to say no. If I say something funny and you feel like laughing, you can throw these up. It makes you laugh. The tongue sticky out emoji, as I've heard one admin call it. You can also raise your hand up like this. This is not the same as asking a question. We'll be taking questions at the end, and we'll worry about that then. But for right now, if you do that, that's a way to get my attention if something's wrong. Like, for example, maybe the screen's burst into flames, and that actually happened because my mods have a good sense of humor, and they did that to me one day. I saw this bright light coming from behind me, and I go, "What's that?" And this display was on fire, and everybody had their hands up. So it kind of works. But if only one person does it, I'm going to keep on going. But if 5 or 6 people are doing it, I know something's wrong, like maybe people can't hear me or something like that. So that can happen. Now you can press the X to close this emoji panel, but it's a good idea to keep it open during events like this because one, it lets me know how I'm doing, but more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you is going like this, that means that, hey, they think whatever's going on is funny, and you may not agree. You may just step aside and be like, "That's not funny at all." And you can go stand over here because it's VR, you pretty much stand where you like, right? Okay, now this event is going to be about the Oculus Quest, but everyone is welcome. So if you are not on a Quest and you're thinking of getting a Quest or you'd like to learn more about it, you're in the right place. Maybe you can learn some tips and tricks that'll help the Quest growing Quest community. Specifically, it's going to be about how the Quest performs in Altspace and how you can get used to being on a Quest in Altspace. So, for example, if you're wondering whether or not Vader's actually immortal, we could talk about that stuff. That's completely cool. But it's going to be mainly about how the Quest exists in Altspace. Now, just to get an idea of how I should proceed right now, let me see some emojis if you are on a Quest right now. Let me see how many people are actually on a Quest here. Okay, we got a few. Let's see. More than a few. Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Now, some more is how many people are recently on a Quest? Like your Quest is brand new, like you just started out. Any new Quest users? Okay, some. Let's see. Some. Okay, that's good. How many of you have upgraded from an Oculus Go? Like you went from a Go to a Quest, and you're still getting used to it. It's a little weird having a second hand. Anybody? Anybody used to be on a Go and is now on a Quest? Okay. Wow, that's getting less and less every week. Okay, how many of you are new to Altspace? You're brand new to Altspace and you're still getting comfortable. Anybody? See some hands going up there? Okay, good. All right, that gives me some ideas. All right, great. Thank you so much for that. Quick announcement. How many of you are actually using have used the hand tracking that just came out? Anybody here try the hand tracking? Let me see. All right, cool. Yeah, I haven't received mine yet because they're doing like that staggered rollout thing. I heard it's a little bit choppy, but I have heard it's like really cool. If you stick around to the end and we get some feedback, maybe you can tell us all what that experience is like. It has to feel pretty weird, I would think. And with everything coming out, like the Oculus Link, which allows you to attach your Quest to your computer if you have one, and that's going to allow you to have like experiences. Tell you, when I got my Quest, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then OC6 came around, and they talked about the hand tracking, they talked about the link cable, and that's a lot like you buy this. Let's say you buy a mountain bike, and you're very happy with it, you think it's great, and then about a week later, you think it's the greatest bike you've ever had, and somebody tells you, hey, in about a few weeks, it's going to turn into a car. I mean, there's not a lot of products like that where you don't have to go back and buy a new one to get the new stuff, where they can just give it to you. I think that's pretty incredible. I've never seen that before. It's really kind of cool. All right, so when I first got my Quest, I was on an Oculus Go at the time in Altspace, and everybody that I'd come in contact with, they were used to me talking with one hand, and this was kind of strange for me because I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to talking with both hands, right? And so I wasn't feeling like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I focused mainly on getting that second hand, right? But when my Quest came, I realized that there's so much more to these controllers than just hands. These are also your feet, like the way you move around. It's the way how you interact with your environment. So in that way, they're a lot more than hands. So, I mean, if you're here today, you obviously know that the left thumbstick is going to move you around like this, right? And your right thumbstick is going to kind of turn you in a circle like that. And if you combine these movements, you can get these big elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. Try that now. Everybody go in a large circle like this. Because when I look out there, it looks like ballroom dance when you're all going in a big circle like that. Let me see. Can you guys try that? Let me see how that looks. Oh, cool. All right. Neat. Very cool. That looks awesome. I love the way that looks. Okay. So yeah, but when you first start out in Altspace on a Quest, if you look at these controllers, right, that's a lot of buttons. All right, and it's a lot to take in. It can be a lot to take in. If you're already comfortable with these controls, don't worry. These exercises can be fun for everybody. But I just like to make sure everybody has a chance to get comfortable with this. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to take a look at some of them. All right, first we have on the right controller and the left controller, we have those grip buttons. Now this is going to be how you interact with your environment. In Altspace, you can grab objects like the way I'm grabbing this laser pointer here, right? You can grab fireworks, you can grab sparklers, marshmallows, the basketballs, to throw them. And when you're interacting with the world editor, it's actually going to change the behavior of some of these buttons. You can also switch, hands like this by squeezing the grip buttons back and forth. And depending on the position of your hands, you can move the object back and forth like this, right? Or you can rotate your hand like this, and it'll actually spin the object as it moves from hand to hand, which is pretty fun. It's a great way to kind of fidget while you're talking to somebody. Now, also, when you're interacting with the world editor, when you're holding the object with the grip button, now this thumbstick, the behavior of that is going to change. The way it's going to work now is rather than turn you around in a circle, if you move from right to left, if you move the thumbstick from right to left, it's going to change the scale of the object that you're holding. It's going to make it bigger or smaller. If you move the thumbstick up and down, what's going to happen is it's going to push the object away, or it's going to bring the object closer to you. And the other thumbstick, now, it does more than just move you around. If somebody's willing to help me out with this, somebody change your vertical height, because on the Quest, you have to worry about, up and down motion as well. If somebody's willing to get up a little bit or scooch back down. Anybody in the audience willing to do that today for me? Nobody? Really? Okay. Well, here we go. Awesome. Thank you, the vengeful one. That's not so vengeful. Now, why don't you show everybody what happens when you push down on your left thumbstick? Give it a shot. See what happens when you press it. See, boom, just like that. Just comes right down. So the way that works is if you're feeling like you're taller than everybody else or you're shorter than everybody else and it doesn't feel comfortable, just press down on your left thumbstick and it's going to recenter you. All right, like we just saw Jace do. All right, Jace is doing it. Jace is like really gone up there. Show everybody what happens when you press down on the left thumbstick because you're tall. There we go. That looks really cool. Thank you, Jace. All right, so now we also have, let's see where my pointer here. Now, some of these buttons, like while these are a lot of buttons, some of these buttons do the same thing. You have this select button, you have this trigger button, and if you have your left pointer enabled through your main menu under, I think, input options, you can also press this button here, select. Now, they all do the same thing, and the way this works is if you hold down any one of these buttons and move across the audience, you move your hand as you point through the room, you're going to see everybody's name tag appear above their head. Right? Just by holding that button down, you can just scan the room really quickly and see everybody's name quickly. This is helpful if you're looking for somebody and you know their name, or like me right now, if you're hosting, you can call out anyone's name and automatically just look at somebody and know who they are. That would be pretty cool in the real world, right? Like you're at a party and you automatically know everybody's name. You don't have to stand there and go, where do I know this guy from? Name's right on the tip of my tongue. I think it starts with an S. Oh yeah, it's Shola. That's right. I remember you. Okay, so you can do it that way. Let's see, what else do we have here? Also, you have this left trigger button here. This left trigger button, what this is going to do is just going to accelerate you. So if you're walking along and you press down on this button, you're going to speed up, right? Give this a try right now. If everybody comes over to this glass railing over here, by this railing on this ramp here, like in a line, form a line right here like that, going straight back. Right, what we're going to do is, you're going to on the ramp itself? No, that's not what I meant. Don't go up there. Everybody, don't go up there. What's going on? What I'm going to say is we're going to go back like this and forth. So get on the inside of this railing, all right? Or actually, you know what we could do? You know what's doing? All right, everybody, here's what we're going to do. Because everybody went on that ramp. I feel like that's my fault. I blame myself. We're going to change this bit up a little bit. Let's start out with this teleport button and this teleport button here, right? Both of them are going to work on both of your controllers. So if we want to go up on the ramp, we want to do that first. Everybody run up the ramp by squeezing that left trigger as fast as you can. Everybody upstairs. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get up top. It's great. All right, we're going to get up to this ramp up here, right? And we're going to do is we're going to look over the ramp, and we're going to point down toward the ground. And we're going to press down on a right teleport button. You're going to see a circle appear, and everybody's going to teleport down like everybody just did. So everybody got the idea pretty quick. So we all jump down, all right? Now, if we take our left controller will work with the teleport too. If we point it across the room toward the glass wall there, right, we can zip, everybody teleport over to me, come over to the side, right, in a line. Now we take our left controller and we point the teleporter at the floor. You get that circle going on right there, and you let go, and boom, you get thrown across the room. What's really kind of cool is if you use both teleport buttons at once and aim at the ground, you'll see two circles appear on the floor. If you make an X with them and then let go at the same time, you're going to get this zigzag teleport going on there, right? And that's kind of cool that you can combine them like that. When I was first getting used to the controls, I went to the Universe, and back then it was held in a very large world. And I went exploring when the event was over to see what the world looked like. And I walked right up to the edge of the world, and I'm looking down over the edge, and I must have gone a little bit too far because I started to fall. And as I'm falling down there, right, I look over to my side and I see this cliff, right? And what I did was I aimed at it and I pressed my teleport button. I locked the circle onto it, and then I let go, and boom, I was safe. I saved myself from respawning. And at that point, I knew I was getting used to the controls. And you will too. What happens is there's going to come a point. I mean, you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, but there's going to come a point where you no longer think about your hands. You no longer think about the gestures or any of that. Like if I could say, hey, everybody, look at that glass wall over there, you can see I'm automatically pointing. I don't think about what button to push. And the way that I'm doing that, and the way that you can learn gestures, is by mirroring your friends. When your friends do something cool that you like somebody says, hey, this is a bird, everybody try to do it. Try to mirror that, right? And this way the gestures are going to become automatic. So everybody's doing that like bird right there, right? Cool. Now, if you squeeze your right grip button and you're pointing like this, I can, make a threatening gesture to the audience and say, you better be a good audience, everybody. You better cooperate. You better give me plenty of applause. That's what I want to see. Now, if you squeeze the left grip button, now you're pointing with two fingers and give me that Brooklyn hello. Everybody comes up and does this to me when I see you out there. This is very cool. I like when people come up to me and they go, hey, how are you doing, like that, right? You can also put these together and make the Altspace logo, and everybody kind of holds it up high like that. Give me a nice that Altspace logo right up in the air. That's cool. People do this to me when I'm out at events, and I like seeing that too. That's pretty kind of awesome. Now, if you squeeze your right trigger button, now I can give you a thumbs up, right? Left trigger button, maybe I give like a thumbs down, like kind of conflicting messages, like I don't know, or maybe two thumbs up because you guys are being good, right? Or we can, release those trigger buttons and make that frame like there, like somebody's doing. That's pretty cool. And it's like all different combinations. Like if you have the thumbs going, you can go like this, all right? And now if you touch your thumbs to the controllers, like to the buttons or the thumbsticks, you don't have to push down on them. You just have to touch them, and your thumb will go down. And that's how basically most of the gestures, but they can be combined in interesting ways. Like if I'm at the Universe and I'm dancing, I can kind of alternate my thumbs like this. And can I do this, like mirror it, And that's what you do. You basically copy the motions of what people are doing. Now, let's see here. What else do we have? We covered that. Oh, yeah, this one's important. Now, when you're having a room scale experience, if you walk out past your menu and you're standing there talking to your friends and your friend says, hey, just open, you're telling you how to do something, right? So they go, just open the main menu button. And you're looking around, you're like, where is it? Where is it? Meanwhile, it's behind you. And it's going to get kind of annoying, like constantly losing your menu like that. You have to remember that on a Quest, your menu is in your hand at all times, right? So if you press this left flat button on your left controller, this flat button right here on the bottom there, that's going to open your main menu. And if you press it again, it's also going to close your main menu. And that's some pretty handy information. Get it? The menu's in your hand, so it's handy information. No laughing emojis. Is that it that old already? Okay, that's fine. No worries. Let's see, what else do we have? We have, okay, so now let's talk about a quick way out of Altspace when things go wrong. And what I mean by this is, like maybe somebody in the next room, dinner's ready and you need to log out in a hurry. This is a great way out. But this is also, good to use when things go wrong. The button I'm talking about, don't push it now. You do need to know it. Is this button right here, the flat button on your right controller. When you press that, you're going to be taking out to the Oculus main menu. And for that reason, I like to think of it as an eject button. Because occasionally in Altspace and in other apps also, you're going to have like errors that will occur where, for example, you're looking out at, like right now you're here at this, watching this performance and something goes wrong with your headset and the world kind of freezes. So when you turn your head, the world moves with you. And this can make you really dizzy when that happens, right? And so you're going to need a quick way out. And that flat button there on the right controller is a really great way to just get out of whatever app you're in. So it's a very fast exit, and you can press quit. It's a great way to close the app quickly, and it's a good thing to press when things go wrong. But there are going to be times when that doesn't always work. There's going to be times where your headset's going to require a reset. Like you could press on that flat button and nothing happens and the world is still going. It's making you feel sick. Just close your eyes and do a reset. It pays to know how to do a reset while it's still on your head, because once you do a reset, it takes a long time for it to restart, right? It can take 20 some odd seconds, and it doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're in a rush because you're hosting, moderating, maybe you're in a big conversation with your friends, it can take a while for that 20 seconds. So like the 20 seconds is going to seem like an eternity. And if your headset's not in a charge cycle, you'll be plugging it in, you'll not be seeing the light, and you might get worried like I did that your headset's broken. So I got into the habit of every time I had to restart my headset, I would do it while it was still on my head. And the way you accomplish this is to take your index finger and you put it up to the side of your headset, and you're going to feel like a bump there as you move it up and down. Like just run it side along on the plastic, so you feel smooth and you feel a bump, and that bumps the power button, obviously, right? So when you push down on the power button, what you're going to see that what you're going to do is you're going to hold it down there, and about 4 seconds go by, and your device will shut off. Like, don't let go. Keep pressing on that button, right? So, it's dark now, it's relaxing, and you start to wonder, like you're sitting there, you're holding that button down, and about 10 seconds go by, and after that 10 seconds, you start thinking, why did Oculus make it take so long, right? And about, 15 seconds go by, and you start thinking about friends you haven't seen in years. You start thinking about that dog you had when you were little, you start reflecting on your life. And then about, 23 seconds or so go by, and you're just waiting. You're relaxing now, got to get back in there. And then all of a sudden, you're going to hear this loud beep. And when you hear that beep, you see the Oculus logo, take your finger up off the button, and then your device will restart, and you can jump back into Altspace, and everything should be fine, right? So that's a great way to restart your device quickly while it's still on your head, and it's a good thing to do. Now, occasionally, what's going to happen is you're going to need to perform a factory reset. Factory resets are a big deal because you're going to lose everything on your headset. If you've had pictures on your headset, you're going to lose those. And if you've had other apps, installed, you're going to have to reinstall those things. All of your settings are going to go away. Any forward progress you've made in those apps. So like if you were, saving the world, you stop for something important like dinner, and you come back to use your headset and something's gone wrong, that's going to require a factory reset. Then you're going to lose all that information. For me, what happened was I came out of Altspace while I was hosting, and it said Oculus Rooms is closing. And I'm like, what is this? Right? So there was a blue button that said you press OK. So I pressed OK, and it just done a firmware update. And after I did this, the screen just said loading for like 2 minutes. So I did a reset, just like I did, with it on my head, and I went through the whole reflection period. And I came back in, and it still said loading for like 5 minutes. So I came back out, and I asked my good friend Google about it. Google said everybody else was having this problem too. And the only thing you could do was a factory reset. So I performed the factory reset, but I learned that if you're keeping pictures on your device, it's a good idea to take pictures of your device, because you're going to lose all that stuff if you need to do that. Now, if you're here today, you've gone through the tour, you've danced with the robot, you played with the blimp and all that stuff, and that went well, right? It was a lot of fun. So you're obviously familiar with the Guardian system, but how the Guardian system can be used in Altspace is pretty special. So if, like, for example, let's say that you're in Altspace and you experience dizziness, all right? One thing you can do is you can hold up your hand and you can look at your hand and focus on your hand. And while you're focusing on your hand, right, the dizziness will pass. And as soon as the dizziness passes, take your hand down slowly, then take in your environment. And you're going to feel a lot more steady, right? But there's a way you can use your Guardian system. And before I do that, let me say, when you mess with your Guardian system, keep in mind that, like I've seen this in Altspace all the time, like somebody will be walking along, right? And all of a sudden they'll go boom, like that, right? They'll hit the wall in real life. So you got to be careful when you're moving around your area. You got to, basically you don't want to become injured, and you also don't want to damage your equipment, right? But when you mess with your Guardian, it's a good idea if you lead with your hands. This way that, you can sense the boundary right there, and you'll see this grid appear in the air. Now, when the grid's in the air like this, you can still move your thumbsticks. So this way you can move around in VR while standing in the real world, right? So like I'm just grabbing on there, so let's say at the edge of my Guardian system is a wall, right? And I go up and I put my hands up and I see the grid. Now I start moving my thumbsticks, and it's like I'm actually moving the wall, right? And I can basically go up to this display here, and now this display is where my wall is in the real world. So if I dive out into the audience right now, right, and all of you go hostile and you start coming at me, right? Like everybody's like, you've had enough of my show. This is it. You've had enough. You start to rebelling. You start messing with me. Come on, everybody mess with me. Try to make me dizzy, right? Just put your hands in my face. Just mess me up. Make me dizzy. That's all you got? Really? Okay. All right, now I'm starting to feel it, right? So I turn around and I look and I see the display over there, right? Even cover my eyes. I can see it through your fingers, and I know that's where my real world is. That's pretty good. That's kind of blocking my view a bit. That's pretty good. But if I just go slightly, I can still see that display. All right. And every time I see that display, I know that's where my real wall, where my real world wall is, right over there, right there. It's like I can still see it. You're not blocking it. I can still see it. And I'm totally steady. This way I'm not getting dizzy. Right. And so what you can do there is if you're dizzy, you can use this as a real world anchor. It's a way to anchor to the real world, and it's pretty useful. Now, another thing you can do is you can actually move in and out of your Guardian system and switch between stationary and seated experiences without ever leaving Altspace. And this is great because, like, let's say that, you come into the event, you're dancing around, you get tired, right? And you want to sit down, right? You don't have to log out to do that. All you have to do is go to the edge of your Guardian, right? And pick your hands out there, and you see the border, you stick your head through, make sure you got enough room to stick your head through without hurting yourself. And you stick your head through, right? And you see, oh, I got my coffee right there. You take a sip of your coffee because that pass-through goes on. And I see I got my chair right over there. So I'm going to walk on over to my chair, and this blue button's up there. Do you want to switch to a stationary experience? So I sit down in my chair, right? And then I press that blue button once I'm comfortable. And all of a sudden, when VR comes back into view, I see that I'm still in Altspace. And this is really convenient. It works in the other direction too. I was moderating an event one time, and I felt like getting up and walking around. So I got up and I thought I was just going to step into my Guardian, right? So I just got, I got up, and one of the things that can happen on Quest is your Quest can lose your Guardian system. You're going to need to redraw it. So I thought, oh no, the host is going to be upset because I just left before the event was over. And I'm standing there, I'm drawing my Guardian out, and I'm wondering, why is my place, my area so big, right? And, I got to make it back in there, and I'm stressing out because this is taking a little bit of time, right? And then as I close the loop here, the Guardian comes back up. The walls of their Guardian come back up, and VR comes back into view. And I find I'm still in Altspace. I never left. And this is great because all everyone sees when doing this is your avatar is like frozen. Just like that. You're having an out of avatar experience. So it's like you're putting your avatar on, you're taking it off, you're going into the world, your real world, you're going into the virtual world, and you're able to switch back and forth pretty quickly while you're on a quest. And that's great in Altspace because it allows you to be comfortable. Like you can go to an event and just take a moment to reposition yourself in a way that's comfortable for you, and you can still enjoy the event without ever having to leave Altspace, which is really great actually because it allows you to be more comfortable. Now this next thing I'm going to show you has no practical use whatsoever. It's just fun to do. If you go to the edge of your Guardian and you make sure you have enough room to put your hands through it, right? What you can do is you move your head through it nice and slow, right? And you'll be able to take in, your pass-through kicks in, you'll be able to see the real world, right? Not surprising. But if you do this really super slow, there's a sweet spot where you can see both realities at the same time. And this is pretty neat because you can actually see avatars in your real world environment. And this is kind of cool because you get a sense of the scale. You get, like, for example, most avatars, like all avatars actually, are about, I'd say, 6 feet tall. And the reality that doesn't actually hit you until you see your friend's avatar standing in your living room, for example. And it's kind of a fun thing to do, but it's not really useful. It's just kind of cool. All right, now, the great thing about the Quest is it just works, right? Now, doesn't mean it can't work better. When I first got my Quest, I ordered those earbuds, right, to plug into the sides, and they were in back order, so they were going to take a month to arrive. So during that month, I got a chance to get used to how great the sound is on the Quest. There's no feedback. The sound quality is very good. And then these earbuds came, and they're kind of weird because they hang down from the side, right? And they kind of dangle there. And I like to think, because they look kind of like earrings for your headset, right? So it makes you look like you're fancy in VR, right? And I tuck them back, I put them in my ears, and I gotta tell you, so I go to the campfire to test this out. And did you know there's a breeze in the campfire? Nobody told me this. I didn't know that. And then I walked over to the railing, right, where the water is, and I heard the water rush. And I've been in Altspace for about 10 months before I experienced this, and I have to tell you, I didn't know any of that was in there. Nobody ever mentioned it, and it turns out that there's a lot of immersive sounds and ambient sounds in Altspace that makes the experience so much more immersive, and it makes you feel like you really hear more. So it's a great thing to try if you can. Another thing that they have is these face inserts. Now, the way I found out about these was when I first got my Quest, I'd heard a lot of people saying that it was very uncomfortable. And when I got my Quest was super uncomfortable. I got like high cheekbones, so the top of the headset was pushing into my forehead, and I was getting like a sore from it. And I kept coming into VR. I kept pushing myself to come in because I'm very active in here. And so I got the sore on my forehead while I've got this headset on. And I'm hosting an Altspace VR 101. So you may see me there. And I get to the part where I'm telling everybody, Michael Forrest, he knows too much about Altspace and he needs to be stopped. And I'm pointing at the slide and I feel this moisture in my headset. And I'm like, what is this? But I'm a professional. I kept on going. I had to finish. But I'm wondering what this is the entire time. So when I go to come out, my wife walked in the room. She asked me, how did it go? And I'm taking my headset off. And she says to me, she goes, go look in the mirror. She did one of those voices where, you have to go look in the mirror, right? So I go over and I look in the mirror. I look in the mirror and I see I have like these red rings around my eyes. And it turns out that the sore had opened up and I was actually bleeding in my headset, which I know is super gross. I cleaned it up real good, I promise. And I had a great story after that. I walked around, all week going, I bled for Altspace. And I put my hand up like this. I dropped my voice down and be like, that's right, Altspace. I bled for you. Like that. And, so I got a cool story out of it, but I knew I had to do something about this. I actually know somebody returned their headset because of this. So I found a company called VR Cover, and it makes inserts. So if you have like light bleeding in through the side, they make this leather one that'll actually like take care of that. But I went with the cloth one, feels like your face is in a pillow, and they send you two of them. So one is being cleaned, the other one can be in use. And it took about a week or so to arrive because it was coming from Thailand. And in that week, I learned something, that the oils in your face they'll actually soften the material of your headset. So there's actually a breaking in period where it becomes more comfortable. So if it's uncomfortable in the beginning, please understand that as it breaks in and as the oils, kind of condition the material, sort of like a baseball glove, what'll happen is it'll become more and more comfortable the more you use it. And you'll get to a point where you don't feel like wearing it at all. You're just going to be there, just in the same way that you don't think about your hands. You'll just adapt to it and adjust to it, and you'll just keep getting, more and more used to it. And there's a lot of different ways that you can modify your Quest to make it more comfortable. But I would suggest if you're going to do anything like an external power pack or a counterbalance, give your headset a breaking in period. Allow it a few weeks of use before you do anything like this. Because as soon as you modify it, right, and then the breaking in period is over, and you're going to notice it's out of balance again, and you're going to go around saying, oh, the Quest isn't comfortable, it's just not comfortable. And what it is I think a lot of people just aren't aware that it needs to break in. Like, you need to get used to the headset, and the headset needs to get used to you. All right, so do it that way, and that can help a lot. Now, you also have these prescription glasses inserts too that'll help protect your lenses of the headset itself and your glasses if you wear them, because you won't need to wear them while you're in VR. And protecting your headset is a good idea because, listen, if you let's say you left it out, by a window and the sun comes in and hits the lenses and damages your headset, right? And something goes wrong with it, it's just not going to be like losing your toaster or an appliance. Because if you're spending a lot of time in VR, especially social VR, and you're making friends and connections with people, you're going to experience this as like an actual loss. All right, as a deep sense of loss, like you're actually losing your friends. And I've seen that happen. It's not cool. So take good care of your headset. The box that it comes in is pretty great for this. But also there's the travel case. That's good if you're going to be moving it around a lot. It's also got a little compartment for your earbuds stuff. And so that's a good one. If you want to try any of these products, we've made links for them, so it's super easy to find. If you go to altvr.com, the Altspace website, and you up at the top left there, you're going to see there's an event section, and right next to that's the word channels. When you press on channels, you're going to see all these different Altspace event channels. We're on the last page toward the bottom there. I think on the second page, yeah. And you'll see it's where it says Ravenhall events, like those up in the balcony there. And there you can join our Discord if you want to help out with events, right? But more importantly, you're going to have all these products on the left-hand side. And while you're there, if you can press that subscribe button, it helps us out a lot. It lets Altspace know how we're doing, and it lets them know that you enjoy events like this. It also makes us feel good. Every time that number goes up, it makes me feel really good. So if you've enjoyed today, if you want to say thank you, you can do so by pressing that subscribe button. It helps a lot. All right, now let's see. We are going to be taking your questions now. We're going to do this is, and not just your question, but if you've tried an accessory, or maybe you've solved the problem with the Quest that we haven't mentioned, we'd really like to hear about it. If you've tried the hand tracking, we want to hear about that too. So let me see here. We're going to open up the questions here. And so what's going to happen is down on your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button appear as if by magic. If you press on that, you're going to appear on my list, and I'm going to call on you. I get to feel like a radio show host. While we're waiting for that list to fill up, we can ask you if you are on Twitter and you want to follow us. You can find us at __Uncanny Valley. I realize that looks like 2 underscores, but it's actually 1. All right, let's see who we have here. We have a few today. We have Shola. Shola, what's going on? Let's see, you're on the air. Shola, where are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Shola.
Right here.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. What's going on?
Cool. So how do if I have a Mac computer, how do I host a room like this? Like, I noticed that you have slide presentations, and I saw how to create an event, but I don't know. I've created one before, but I don't know how to affect slides or put media in or movies or
There's
that sort of
actually
thing.
a few ways to do it. There's a few ways to do it, and how to create an event those put on by users, so they may not cover like every approach. But what you're going to see is the way I do it is there's a company called slides.com. You go to slides.com, you can build a slide presentation, and you can actually link that to this display. So when you have this display, there'll be a URL on the bottom, and you can put in the URL for your slide presentation. And you can do this through the altvr.com website. It's easier than typing it in World. You can actually put it on that page itself where the link is. It'll say in World Display, and you put the link to your slide presentation in there. But there are a few routes to get it done. You got to find what works best for you or your event. So it's going to require some experimentation, and it feels good when you figure it out too. Like you're like, oh, I just got the slides to work, and you're sitting there, and you'll be standing in front of instead of your display, and you'll be flipping the slides back and forth, and you just keep building on those skills. And usually, I think people favor the event that worked for them. So the first time somebody works it out, if they got it to work through like a display object that they made in World, they'll use that method. Or if they got to, for me, I use it in the web page itself, and I find that's cool because it actually increases the performance of the room, which allows me to have more people in here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's how you would go about that. Now let's see here. We also have the Vengeful. I think let's see the rest of the name there, but let's see. Vengeful one, I think was the name. Let's see. No, the microphone's not going on there. Okay. Let's see. Try that again. There we go. I think that worked. Vengeful one. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, hey, how's it going? You were right the whole time. What's going on?
It took me a while to learn how to use the Quest because I was on the gear before building worlds, and it was kind of simple because I was using one controller. But as soon as I got two controllers, I had to relearn everything
I know.
I know about building. Huh?
Do you find yourself putting down? I mean, I still do this because I was in the same boat because I was on the go. Do you find yourself putting down your left hand a lot? I do that constantly.
Bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It happens to me even still. I've been on the Quest for many months now.
I had trouble. I had trouble controlling the objects. I ended up sending far away into space somewhere, and I was like, damn. And then I had to delete it and bring it back. I was having trouble understanding what's to rotate, what's to resize, and I had everything in one hand, but then this became the rotate and resize, and this became the regular to move around and whatever. I'm still learning how to use it. And
one
also,
thing that'll help you out an awful lot is the on the world editor panel. At the very bottom of that panel, you're going to see a white box that says it says lock rotation. When you press on that lock rotation button, it's gonna make the hand movements a lot more steady and reliable, and it'll give you a chance to get used to the controllers more. All right.
When I was on the gear, I had to do that too. I had to check that box because every time I used the gear, my head would just mess up the angle that I was trying to do.
It's like that on the go too.
Yeah. So when
it is a lot to get used to.
It's a little bit different. A little bit different with the Quest. And I tried the hand tracking thing. I found out a few things that works with it. So far, I tried the browser, the store, and Pluto TV.
Yeah. What does it feel like?
Those are
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know the most. Like the hand tracking, what does it actually feel? Because everybody talks about it's a little bit sketchy, or it works with this app and that app, but nobody talks about what does it feel like.
It's kind of simple. It's not too hard. First, when you first get it, they show you how to use it, how you gotta pinch, and it's just certain gestures that like you probably normally know anyway. But they give you a tutorial. Once you learn it, it's very easy. You learn how to click on websites, all that stuff. You learn how to zoom and all this other stuff. You can click on a store and select games, play videos.
Would you
can't play YouTube unless you're on the browser.
Would you say that it feels weird? Like, is it a strange sensation? To see like your hands.
It's kind of weird in a way because when you trying to click on something, sometimes you get that little jitter or the tracking of your hands, and sometimes your hands will disappear. Sometimes you don't meant to press the button, then you end up pressing the button, then your controller come back. So now you got to go right back to your menu, click on the thing, the controls disappear. You put the controls down, and you start all over again.
Well, I think what we need to remember too is they weren't supposed to release this until January, so it's still kind of new. So they're probably going to be making improvements to it a lot. Listen, before we get going here, I would like to show you guys this because if you're new to Quest, you may not have seen this, especially if you're new to Altspace. This is a flight tool, and if you're on a two-handed controller, it's going to allow you to fly around in Altspace. If you draw small lines, it'll move you in that direction. If you draw long lines, it'll move you very quickly around in the direction that you draw. Right. See, one of our mods has been using it throughout the event.
Even with that, I didn't know we had that on the Quest. Because on the gear, that wasn't even a thing for me. I had to just dash around, and it took me forever. When I found out the flight, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Damn,
it's good stuff. So if anyone would like to learn how to use it, at the end of our events, we teach everybody to fly. And we're going to do this. We're going to go up this ramp here and into that blue light at the top. But before we go, I just want to thank you all for coming, number one. And I also like to say that if you've learned anything here today, please share it with the people you come in contact with. That's how we kind of keep this Altspace thing going. If you're in a campfire and somebody's down on the ground like this and you walk up to them and you're like, what's wrong with it, buddy? And they go up to you and they go, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck in the ground. What do? You can just say, I just press down on that left controller button, that left the thumbstick there. They'll pop up. They'll feel good. You'll feel good. And that's how we keep this thing going. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And let's go up that ramp. Let's do it to the music. Let's make it look good. Move around. Give me your best moves as you go up. And get up there. Right? Yeah, there we go. Everybody hands up. That's full space. I like that. Everybody hands up and go on through. Into that blue light. Thanks for coming, everybody. And I'll see you next time.